All right, so what's up? I'm Deusa.
What's going on, guys? I'm Nadia.
And welcome to What the Fuck is Nirvana podcast. We got some special guests in the building.
Yeah. What's up, guys?
All right.
What up?
So introduce yourself.
So my name is Boy Wonder,
Okay.
representative of Tampa Bay. I'm from the city. I was born in San Francisco, raised here since I was 2. Started rapping like '05, made some waves, started a band.
Hey.
Now I'm a punk rock star, lead singer of the Electric Jacket.
Hell yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And a little fact of the day, when I was early in my music journey, he kind of sensei'd me when integrating into rap.
Ooh.
He sat me down, made me look at all of the girls that was popping at the moment, sat me down, made sure my raps are on point, no corny shit. So thank you for that.
I love that.
Legend.
He's a good mentor.
Very much so.
Yeah.
All right, what about you?
My name's Harrison Clyde Cummings IV. I'm a bartender in the city at Club Eden.
My favorite bartender of the city. I think he's like everyone's favorite bartender.
No, for sure. And it's one of the best bars, too. One of the best clubs in
It is a good time. If you're ever in Tampa, swing by Eden.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
R.I.P. White Lie.
R.I.P. White Lie, man.
Yeah.
But yeah. I also just got my personal trainer certification.
Hey.
So if you try and get in shape, hit your boy up.
Hey.
Harry the Bartender on Instagram. I'll work you out.
Period. That should be like
Yo.
your like.
Hey, yo.
Should be like a mission statement.
Yeah.
Work you out.
We're going to get an Instagram going for that, too.
There we
yeah,
go. There we go.
So, yeah.
Okay, so
Excited to be here.
we're happy to have you guys.
Love
You
it.
guys are like, both of you guys have great minds, so I'm excited to talk about these current events with you guys.
Guys gave us a little sneak peek as to what we're going to be talking about on the
Yeah.
You guys
I was
couldn't
like,
hold
"Stop.
it back.
Wait for the podcast.
Usually when we get together, it's always we never debate. It's always just like sharing ideas of whatever is going on at the time.
Very intellectually stimulating conversations.
I love that. I love that. That's how I feel about Nadia.
That's good.
Yeah.
For
It's
sure.
always good to have those friends that you can, like, get into shit with.
Mental sparring.
Yeah, a little mental back and forth, because you don't want somebody who's just going to agree with everything that you say.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I enjoy
Pick their
that.
brains, you pick theirs, and then you guys don't always have to agree, but come to a common ground and be able to understand each other, too.
Exactly. And even if you don't agree, just to be able to be like, I don't agree with you on this, but I still love you.
Yeah.
You know?
And then in the future, you might be like, oh, wow, what a valid point.
Because you're open to it.
And that has happened to me with him a few times where I've been like, he was chopping shit. And then like a few months ago by, and I'm like, actually, you kind of had a funny
Shoot.
point.
Be honest something.
Yeah.
All right, so let me just ask the number one question. Who do you guys think won the rap beef between Kendrick and Jersey Drake?
You want to go first on that? Go ahead.
Kendrick.
Yeah?
Kendrick?
Sure.
So, are we going around the table or?
Yeah, my opinion's Kendrick,
Yeah.
for sure.
I would say Kendrick with an asterisk next to the.
Okay, what's
to
the
the-
asterisk mean?
Explain.
Or
Asterisk.
you wanna
Oh, Kendrick, hello, what?
I'll say that I think that Kendrick, obviously, with back and forth, the diss songs, Kendrick obviously wiped Drake. But Kendrick's a better rapper than Drake. Drake makes better songs, I think. I think he's a hit maker. He has, his track record speaks for itself.
Right.
But in the beef, Kendrick won. But the asterisk is in the landscape of hip hop, and especially what's being played in the clubs, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
They're still going to play Drake every weekend. They're still going to be screaming, fuck my ex, and all that
Yeah.
shit every Friday. And they're not going to start playing Kendrick in the clubs. He doesn't make club music.
Until now.
Until he made Not Like Us. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, they've been bumping Not Like Us in the
That
club.
song-
I was at Eden, right? And you know, like on the first floor with the little, like with the sections where you could stand in the security
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So you know, I was like telling Nadia, I said, bitch, as soon as they play that shit, bitch. As soon as they played it, I told the security, I said, hey.
I got a video of that, too.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Hey, you already knew the vibes. We was turned up, but yeah.
So that is a club banger. And that's something I don't think Drake anticipated to happen. Is
Hell
for Kendrick
no.
to make a diss song that's going to get club play like crazy.
Right.
He didn't see that coming.
And then to piggyback off what you're saying, the reason why I do agree with you as well is because it's like Drake makes music that's like the soundtracks to our lives.
Yeah. Yes. And
In
no, look,
every realm.
for the past 15 years, he's
15 is crazy.
15 is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at the age now where Drake's been playing in my headset for like 15 years.
No, same.
Easy.
Yeah.
And so I think Drake's eating a multi-layered shit cake right now. if I can put it that way. Like,
Right.
there's multiple layers to Drake's downfall that's happening simultaneously.
Right.
And I go back and forth to like what is actually the reason it seems to be imploding in on him like right now. I think there's a lot of. Can I get into it?
Go ahead.
First off, disclaimer: I'm aware that this doesn't affect my life in any way, shape, or form.
We don't know these people.
Yeah, we don't know these
We
people.
don't know these people.
like
I
that.
still gotta pay bills. I still gotta go to work.
Yeah,
Ain't
but it's
No
hip
one
hop.
here is compromised. No one here is being
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah, and we're not on payroll, but it's hip hop, and this is our culture, so we have the right to
is the culture,
comment,
it is
and
the
that's on
culture.
period.
And I'm not even like a hip hop connoisseur. I'm a friendly voyeur. Like I enjoy hip hop. I've been listening to it my whole life.
Yeah.
So I think there's different things going on. So real quick, people have been waiting on Drake to slip up for a minute. Like when you're at the top and Drake's at the top, you're gonna have the higher up you go, the more haters you're gonna have. And you're gonna have more people trying to throw rocks at your house,
Right.
trying to break windows, trying to see like if they can get you to fuck up. So that's happening. There's also Drake not being a street guy and hip hop being a street product. There's always been that contention with Drake.
Yeah, like he's not authentic.
He's not authentic, and like hip hop coming from the streets and Drake not being of the streets. There's always been that tension with real hip hop heads.
And being mixed, and I feel like he's always had a chip on his shoulder.
and not being from America.
But the thing is, that actually helps him in some way because, yo, I'm telling you, the white girls that have been riding so hard for him during this beef is crazy. They're like, no, Drake won.
Yeah.
No, Drake won.
Sit
no,
your
Drake
ass
won."
down, white girl. This does not concern you.
They're like, don't talk about my baby daddy. Don't talk. And I'm like,
Girl.
yeah,
a
no,
little-
and that honestly
a little more
is-
complex than that.
I think Drake's like core audience is majority white.
Yeah.
And that's not a diss to like the audience. That's not a diss to the audience.
I always
No, it
say
is.
that Drake is the favorite rapper of non-black people who sometimes are not even into hip hop culture and even sometimes I've noticed are a bit condescending towards black people as a whole. Like I've seen people that don't really like black people but be fans of Drake and he's their entry point into hip hop. Where hip hop is
He's very digestible for a non-black
Exactly.
person to like
he's-
listen to.
it's like hip hop is the most influencing force on the planet currently. And
Hell
when
yeah.
something cool's going on, everybody wants to be a part of it. When you want to be a part of something that you don't necessarily like the people who are making it happen, you want to find an entry point. And I think that he's been a lot of people's, like I said, non-black people that maybe don't necessarily vibe or think black people are ghetto. He's been that entry point into hip hop for them.
That's a great point.
Were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna push back slightly because as a black person who grew up black in America, I've been rocking with Drake for a long time, like since high school. Like I'm 32 years old, and so from like 10th grade through college, post-college, I listened to so many Drake songs, and like there's to this very day, there's songs that I will like forever because they got me when they got me. There's like a
Yeah.
nostalgia element involved.
Yeah, an
And
attachment.
so, yeah, there's like an emotional attachment to those songs. And so, like, to this day, if you put on, like, Shut It Down with
Right.
The Dream,
Oh.
that last little 2 minutes, I'll sing that shit top of
Yeah.
my lungs. Like, there's
Yeah.
there's certain Drake songs that, like, I think hit differently. And so, I won't say that he's, like a white person's artist. Like, everybody likes Drake.
I'm not saying white. I'm saying non-black. So I'm saying, like, Arabs, Hispanic people, Chicos. Like, I'm just saying non-black.
You guys are both right.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I'm not saying that there aren't black people that like him. There are also black people as well.
Yeah.
But for the people that are not black and that don't necessarily, if it wasn't for him and their connection to hip hop through him, wouldn't go into black spaces, wouldn't engage black music or black art. That's where I see a lot of you know, like she's saying, like a lot of these white girls that are just don't care about any of the real life implications of what may be going on with them. They're just ignoring it because it's like, no, this is my cool. This is how I can stay attached to the cool, so you're not going to take that away from me.
And we can't forget about Degrassi. Did you guys watch Degrassi?
I was in 7th grade when Degrassi was, like, on TV, and my girlfriend at the time watched it and tried to get me into it, and I was like, I can't watch this.
I love
I
Degrassi.
did not
I like Degrassi. But it didn't make me like Drake more.
It made me more familiar, but it made me interested in his journey.
I did like that. I liked the progression of what he did with his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the show some. Nobody really stuck out to me on the show. It was like watching it and it's like, oh, yo, like, he's ill or they're ill. It was just a really well, I think, put together show. You know what I mean? From the writing, the
It's a teenage soap
storylines.
opera.
And he was only the only black person on the show. So anytime there's the only black person,
It was like at that
Black?
season.
Any-
Yeah, at that
No, but
season.
that's-
Yeah.
back then.
But anytime there's
That's that token. That's that token.
that's what I'm saying. Anytime there's the only black person in a white person's space on TV, I'm like, yeah.
I'm rocking with him.
However, but keep in mind, like you said, he's digestible.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Non-threatening.
digestible for
There's-
white people to be like, oh, that's a cool black person. They're not like the rest of them type shit. Like, and it's like,
Yeah,
In all-
non-threatening.
in-
That's the
yeah.
thing about-
Non-threatening.
about
That's a perfect term.
For some non-black people, they need their black people to be non-threatening. So like,
and we should be able to express in all shapes and forms, whatever.
Can I comment on what you just said?
Go ahead.
So him being easily digestible, I think, has always worked in his favor. That's why he's the #1 streamed artist in the planet. Like he is able to be enjoyed by every walk of life. You don't need to be from the streets to enjoy Drake. You may need a little bit more street references or like street living to enjoy Kendrick or to enjoy any number of hip hop artists.
Yeah.
No,
Because
for
you
sure.
you can't really feel where they're coming from unless you've been around that energy, unless you've been in that energy. But Drake, you don't need to be from the streets to like Drake. You don't need to be from the hood to be like, I better find your loving. Like you can play that in the club and just have a good time. And I think
shout
that
out to
plays.
Ye
Hey.
produced and wrote that song.
Of course, we're not even gonna bring Ye into this. 'Cause
Yeah.
we already know how we feel about Kanye. I mean, maybe they don't, but like,
And then also Drake started off making like lover boy music, singing, like
That was his thing. So 808s and Heartbreak kind of broke the mold of what a rapper had been up until that point.
Right.
So like Ye doing an entire singing kind of like dark wave album shifted the entire sonic landscape of hip hop, where it created a space for Drake and artists like him to enter into hip hop, because the archetype before Ye, the only archetypes you had for hip hop was the gangster or the backpack rapper, which was the conscious rapper.
Right.
So Ye was the first person that came in and had this mainstream sound and appeal that wasn't. He was more backpack leaning, but he definitely had like a certain
Je
like
ne sais
mainstream pop sound. You can, of course, you know what I mean. But even Drake and 40, they did an interview once where they talked about how Ye was the inspiration behind So Far Gone, and so Drake
he rapped
had
on a few Ye beats on that.
Yeah.
and so Drake had been making music for years and had multiple mixtapes, and he was in his little underground sector, had been making somewhat waves. I think the first time I ever saw Drake was on World Star, and he had the song Replacement Girl with Trey Songz. That was the
Fire
first time
song.
I ever
Fire song.
heard about him. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me shit and tell
And
me
then
shit.
when So Far Gone dropped after 808s and Heartbreak, that was his entrance into like hip hop. You know what I mean?
Right.
And also, you got to remember, him and Nicki came in under Wayne when Wayne was the biggest artist on the planet. You know
and
what I
that
mean?
was I
So-
feel like that
Big three.
big three. That's the real big three.
Like him being with Wayne, infinitely like he can never pay Wayne enough money
Facts.
for the
He paid him back by fucking his
Putting him
girl.
on.
But continue.
yeah, which is crazy. So look, that was the third part of the shit cake that I was gonna get to.
no loyalty.
The shit
Is
came.
that Drake's been fucking everybody's girl for so long that niggas is just they don't like him.
You're like,
You know
that's
what?
enough.
You know what?
Because he's at another level of celebrity, like where even celebrities, like you take all the biggest rappers right now, Drake's at a level where it's like he's bigger than them.
yeah.
And so like even girls who are messing with like other celebrities, they'll clout chase to
Drake,
get to Drake
yeah.
because he's at another level.
Yeah.
So like he's even getting other celebrities mad because he's like fucking their girls and shit. So I think there's a lot at play with Drake's downfall right now. Like, and
I think
we're not even bringing in the child
I
allegations.
think the core of why everything is imploding, like earlier when you said that, I wanted to touch on that. I think it's refreshing to know that when you're not a good person, eventually you're gonna hit a wall.
That
Shit
is
comes to
refreshing.
light.
And that's the
Hell
one thing
yeah.
that it
Cause and
seems
effect.
to be.
Universal
it
law.
seems to be the theme is that he's done people in a way that if you're a good person, you shouldn't do people. You know what I mean? Like if you call someone a friend, if someone confides in you, if someone trusts in you on any level, you have to treat it with a certain respect. And when you don't, bad things happen. You know what I mean? So it's like when you're a bad person, eventually you'll end up in a bad spot. And it just seems like that's why there's no one coming to his defense, even for the people that aren't at odds with him and have collaborated and are still, I guess, on his side of the line. They're staying quiet because I think once you observe somebody who's not a good person, you see them fall, it's kind of like, well, I kind of knew that was coming.
You needed that
You know what I
lick.
mean?
It's kind of an attest to maybe his nature being not hip hop. Because that was not very hip hop.
I mean, the name of the album, the Future and Metro Boomin album is We Do Not Trust You. Like,
Future's always been really down with Drake and has
Facts.
always
Seriously.
he's given Drake room to be the brash kind of, you know,
Whoever you
a
wanna
little
be.
bit more gangster. Him, Thug. It's all the Atlanta,
Yeah.
all the Atlanta brothers is the ones that kind of gave him the space to talk crazy on records. Like, what's the Thug song where he comes on the beat switches and he's like,
With Travis Scott on it?
yeah, he's like, what'd he say? YSL put a nigga 6 feet. His opening line on the Thug song is talking about killing people. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking about YSL will kill somebody. Like, why are you
Wild.
talking
That's
about
not
anybody
helpful
getting killed?
in
Like,
the
that's
Thug
not
case.
your bop. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, we were talking earlier, like, there's an interview with Wayne from, 12, 13 years ago where he's talking about advice that he gave to Drake to be himself, to never feel like he needed to be like Wayne. He's like, you coming around us, you don't got to try to be gangster. You don't got to get tattoos. You know what I'm saying? Don't stop smiling. And Drake said the same thing in an interview where he spoke about that exact advice Wayne gave him. And I think that if he would have just listened to Wayne,
He should have listened.
who was the person that brought him into the game, things might have played out a lot differently on
Yeah,
all
I
levels.
just feel like he's always had like an identity crisis in a sense of like
For sure.
not feeling rooted in who he really is. And in
Chasing.
result, it's like it shows.
chasing that whoever it is that he wants to be
Or that's
to get that
cool.
clout. Exactly.
Yeah, because I feel like Drake's most classic albums was when he was in that era. Like after
Like being his most
Like, what is your
authentic self.
favorite? Do you have a favorite Drake album?
never what was it? Never
Nothing Was the Same.
Nothing Was the
That's one of
Same.
my favorites as well.
I really like Wu-Tang like that. It's just the texture in his music after that album, I just really couldn't connect
Can
with
I-
anything else.
Can I play devil's advocate because I like to?
Okay.
So one of the contentions we've had with Drake, or that hip hop has with Drake, is that he doesn't have his own sound, and that he'll take someone's sound and run off with it. Yes, but also it takes a certain level. Like, we used to pay A&Rs to find what's hot, like to find who's next
Right.
and bring them to the light. Drake, I don't know if it's his team or if it's Drake himself or whoever it is, a combination of the two, but they know like the trends, and they're able to select, this sounds good, this doesn't. Let's do this next. Let's move in this direction. So when he hopped on with Migos and Versace, or when he took X's flow and KMT, he didn't take nobody else's flow. Like, he wasn't trying to rap like somebody else. He was able to detect, this is good shit right here.
Integrate into
And integrate it. And here's the thing, back to what you were saying about him being on Degrassi. Drake is an actor. At his heart, that's what he is. He's a pretender. But he's a really good pretender. And our favorite actors, it takes a certain level of it takes a certain type of intelligence to be a good actor. To be able to embody an emotion and a role and make other people believe that you are that thing. That's why we like
Charisma.
Denzel Washington. That's why we like George Clooney and Brad Pitt and all these guys, are like, whoever your favorite actor is, because they're able to make you believe
Right.
what you're watching is real. And Drake has that same actor intelligence, except he embodied the role of a rapper, thug, American.
He's a chameleon, bro.
And,
he's a chameleon.
and picture this. Wasn't he coming to the summer in Memphis with his pops?
Yeah. And that is also like
So
connection to the streets thing.
That's what
Yeah.
he says, but early on in the music, he said Pops wasn't around, and then his Pops comes out and says, "No, I was in his life," and he's just playing that up for the people.
or it's just a wound. It's the wounds because sometimes with narcissistic parents, they think they did enough,
Yeah.
and then the kid feels different. I think that's just like a common thing.
I think his
It's
dad might be a
possible.
little bit in it.
We
for the
don't,
money,
we'll
I think
never-
his dad is a piece of shit.
Have you seen his dad in
really
the
know.
videos, like hugging up on girls at Drake's party? Like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Nah,
I
but,
mean, back in that generation, I'm telling you, we don't go into the patriarchy,
Let's
but
get into the patriarchy.
a lot
Let's get
of,
into it.
but
I had my dog
it's
Julio.
like A lot of stuff is being revealed, unlearned, and certain behaviors just aren't acceptable anymore, and we don't see them as acceptable. So you're going to be judged now.
You know, one fault I think he had in, even if he was playing this role this whole time, is any good actor is a student of the game in a way where when they're going to play a role, they study it. They learn it. They become it.
Yeah.
You know, I think he became certain parts of hip hop, Black American hip hop culture on the surface, but never really took the time to immerse himself in it enough to understand it, to where like certain things, like certain slip ups is just based off of like, you really don't actually have any true Black American friends that you've seen interact and have deep conversations with, because like the whole slave line
was crazy.
Well,
You know, it-
because
it's crazy.
Kendrick was correct. He does have a colonizer mindset. The difference between the reason why I'm always going to favor Kendrick over Drake is because Kendrick is really about the culture. Kendrick really understands the power of music and how it influences people, and he's really in it to bring this planet to a higher frequency through his music.
You can tell that through his art. He doesn't. It's not like a trendy thing that he be releasing, you know, based off of like what's cool now or what is going to go viral. He's speaking real shit, actually.
I mean, as true as that is, I still think I'm looking at like 10 years, 20 years from now. Like, all right, so we're gonna leave the implications aside of like him being weird with kids, because at this point it's just hearsay.
Yeah, we weren't there. We don't know.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
Until he gets indicted or arrested or taken to trial, that's just hearsay. So,
But
I'm
he
gonna leave that
do
aside.
got some some
has
some
predatory
proof.
tendencies.
He does.
He
There
might
we
have
go.
some tendencies.
That's a great way to
He
put
does.
it. That's a good way to
That
put it.
makes it look like he could be grooming younger women. And for, like, I have some homegirls who have now stepped out and they're like, look, he tried to get my little sister to come check him out.
Bro,
when
you
she
know how
was
many
still in high
TikToks
school.
videos I've seen of guys coming out like, I went to high school, I grew up in Toronto, and Drake was in, like, if you had a bad girl and went to your school, Drake was in her DMs, or Drake liked her pictures, and they would all go to parties at
Yeah.
Drake's house.
But
But I'm going to separate that
Yeah.
from the art right now.
From the sport. From the sport.
From the sport, just for now.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a conversation that we've had about multiple celebrities over time, which is how can we separate the artist from the art? We try to do that with R. Kelly. Because, like,
I did.
well, we did because, no, look.
You can't.
No, because you can. Because listen, R. Kelly, I
it's
went.
a choice. You can choose to, or you could choose not to, but it's definitely possible.
It's definitely possible.
No, it's
Even
possible.
with everything that's coming out about
Of
Diddy.
course.
So you tell me right now, if you in somewhere and they play "Step in the Name of Love," you're not gonna hit a low.
No, honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not about like me thinking they're bops or not. If you knew me back in the day, if you gave me the aux chord, I'm putting on "Throwing by R. Kelly. That was my shit.
Mix to it.
That was my shit.
Yeah.
Or burn it down or burn it up. But however, once everything came out, I took them off every streaming platform, Spotify, whatever Apple that I have. I'm not listening anymore. If it comes on, yeah, I'm a fan. I'm gonna bump to it.
Stand
But
on
like,
business.
why support people with my time and my energy and my attention who aren't good people, who are trash people, when there are people who are artists that aren't trash people?
Yeah.
See, for me, it isn't a support thing. For me, it's on a deeper artistic level. It's when I Believe I Can Fly came out. The impact that it had being attached. The only song that I think that had a resounding effect like that, and I don't even think it was their top two was Whitney Houston and I Will Always Love You, which was from the Bodyguard soundtrack. So it was a song that was a hit on its own, but it was attached to a film that was one of the top movies of that year. With R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly was the same thing with Space Jam.
Yeah.
But it was a movie that was like, so me growing up, I've noticed that as black and brown kids, we never were given the movie magic that white kids were given. Like E.T. was one of my favorite movies growing up. The scene where they take E.T. and put him in the basket and ride from the cops and then like take flight, like that moment is like forever etched in
your
my
subconscious,
spirit, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I've never seen a moment like that in films including black people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with Space Jam, what they did with Michael Jordan, centering a black man to be this this super seamless. They threw everything that they could throw at the time at it, writing wise, graphics wise, you know what I'm saying, CGI, and it was amazing. You know what I mean? And then that song was like almost it's lived longer than the movie has in terms of like quality and like being something that's like recognized
That's one of
as
the
a
best
piece
songs of
pop
all
culture.
time.
Come
And
on,
it's
you know what I
like,
mean?
Dude, my dad sings that.
My
dad
so
loves
source channels through
so
every.
So you gonna separate exactly? You got to separate the
that's
art
why-
from the artist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me,
Because R. Kelly did that
at least
shit.
for me with that is because the inspiration that I feel like it gave to people like us that we were never really given. You know what I mean? Like here and there sometimes, but like it's too great to turn my back on it and pretend like it never happened.
And-
Because
yeah.
for us, it's like for non-black people, they can mess up, they can do messed up things, and none of what they've done ever gets hidden or taken away. Like all of the movies Harvey Weinstein has produced, none of them have been pulled from any streaming services. None of them.
That's a great
That's
point.
not even a question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bill Cosby, as soon as the media onslaught to paint him a certain way came out, the day after they stopped airing reruns.
No,
of
they
The Cosby
are
Show.
going to
They
definitely.
memory hold Bill Cosby. They wiped his shit from everywhere.
Yeah, you feel me?
No, they're definitely going to disproportionately go after the people of color, black people, of course, even
And
when white
exploit
people
them
are
on
doing the
purpose.
same thing, if not worse.
With
And
someone
not-
like Weinstein, it's proven that it was worse. And I don't know if you guys saw, but like his conviction just got reversed. He's getting out of jail.
That's
So he's
crazy.
unconvicted now. It's not.
Hold on. I think we're lumping people together who don't necessarily belong in the same category.
Yeah.
Like Cosby and Weinstein.
No.
And then there's also an element of like we don't know for sure if Cosby did all that wild shit.
Yeah.
We don't know for
I
sure.
did a lot of research and
I did as well.
It doesn't look like what they're painting it or saying that it was.
But here's what I will say. Cosby was trying to do some things within the industry, trying to buy networks and things of that nature. And so I think there was a little bit of, we got to get him out of here for something. Same thing with Michael Jackson. Michael
Yeah.
Jackson owned half the music industry. He owned the Beatles. He owned everything.
Yeah.
And they were like, let's call him a pedophile and get him up out of here.
Yeah.
But what I can
Weinstein's
say,
something different.
Yeah.
what I
No,
can
facts.
say the music industry is usually like more men than anything. So I do not put it past any of these men that they did not do any of those things.
Oh, well, no,
Like-
no, literally. I was
You
gonna
know,
say,
yeah, they do roofie women.
These are all believable.
That is a thing.
Accusations
100%.
because this is what's known in Hollywood.
Yeah, they do
Like, this is
traffic
what's
women,
Mm-hmm.
and it was normalized and made it seem like it's okay until
known and
somebody
normalized.
makes a business move that you don't like.
And
and
then
you-
they're like, okay,
Then you want to exploit people.
let's push the button. Now, like I was arguing this with my brother the other day, and he was saying that as long as you're powerful and famous, and he brought P. Diddy into it. He was like, how do we know that P. Diddy was doing all this wild shit? How do we not know that like all these people are just hating on Diddy because he's been, famous and rich and powerful for all these years? And I'm like, I mean, you always have to say what if, but at the same time, sometimes what people do in the dark gets brought to light.
Exactly.
And that's what may be happening with P. Diddy and Weinstein and Bill Cosby as well. We don't-
Another thing too, tell your brother if you want to go down the rabbit hole, you can
Right.
do research and start to connect dots where you might not know every detail of what went on, but you can get a pretty good picture of.
There's a lot of anecdotal evidence
Yeah.
pointing
No,
towards a
there's
certain.
and I believe Cassie.
I believe Cassie
I'm
too.
sorry.
I
I'm
believe Cassie as
saying,
well.
like-
I believe him settling for $30 million within
Yes.
less than a week of the accusations
Yeah.
coming out was a very resounding let's.
So to bring it back to Drake, how much of it is him behaving badly, and how much of it is people wanting him out of the way for being at the top of the game for the past 20 years? How much can we attribute to either side? Because I know there's people who don't like him just for being famous and powerful and fucking girls and doing whatever
I
the fuck
don't
Drake
know
does.
if niggas is really hating on Drake to hate on Drake, bro, because like it's like
I think there's always going to be that element.
I don't
No,
know.
I-
When
like-
Metro made that BBL Drizzy beat,
Yeah.
he put it out to the public,
course,
and
and
there's
people-
random people who
no,
never
so
dealt with Drake
I'm-
dissing him.
I'm not speaking on us as the consumer. I'm speaking on the industry, the culture.
Yeah.
When the group of people that you are being positioned, because Drake has been being positioned as the face of hip hop for the past 10 years, or at least like 5-7 years, like they're erasing Michael Jackson's name out of the history books to put him there. And that's the thing is like with streaming farms and the way that numbers can be manipulated now that everything's digital, he's not gonna lose, regardless of like what you said.
And
like,
he's
not
Jewish.
going nowhere. And for the people that own the music industry, right? All of the labels,
Jewish.
all the executives, they're all
The Jews.
they've never had a horse.
Wait,
yeah.
where are they? What are they?
Huh?
What are they?
The Jews.
Are we gonna talk about the Jews?
Eventually.
Eventually.
So for the
Y'all know I'm
people
part
that
Jewish, right?
Me too, low-key.
There we go. Welcome to
My
the
German
the
side, my German side, like.
Travis said, I'm Polish Jew. Yeah.
on every level.
Yeah.
For the people that run the industry to never have had a horse in the race for the biggest influencing vehicle in
You
entertainment.
think they're just putting a battery in his back and just saying go, 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 go.
For
We
sure.
got you. We're gonna block anything else out.
Look at the deals. Look at the deal that Lucian just gave him a few years
So
ago.
pause.
You know what I mean? Like he's
Go ahead. Hold on.
he's signed-
I was
he's
just
signed himself
about
a
to
slave
bring
deal.
him
Okay,
up.
pause. So, do we think, all right, Drake is a ploy?
PDF file? Oh.
Do we think he is a tool? Thank
Yes.
you for better
An
words.
industry plant?
Two,
A tool.
two,
I'm not a plant, a tool.
manipulate the black community and not make it as great as it can be and keep everybody at a low frequency.
I think with that
We can't lay that all at Drake's doorstep.
No,
That's so many
I don't-
artists.
I said a tool.
I don't
Yeah.
think Drake is knowingly doing this. I don't think Kendrick is knowingly doing this. Both of them are distractions. Both of them are employed
Kendrick
by.
is unconscious.
Both
No,
of them
she
are
might have something
employed by UMF, right? The what is it?
UMG.
UMG,
from what,
excuse
though?
me, exactly, Universal Music Group. And the CEO for Universal Music Group is Lucian, right? Like you just mentioned. He is making so much fucking money off of this beef. He is a known Zionist, a proud Zionist, and he is also in the Diddy files, the Diddy records, what's going
I had
on.
no clue about this.
Oh, so he's in the actual like the
Disposition and whatnot. Like
yeah,
people
like,
are.
he's in legal paperwork with what's going on with Diddy. His name he's like in there. You know what I mean? So
shit
this isn't
is-
speculation. This is all like actual like legal. Like right now, this is why they went and raided
The
Diddy's
CEO
house.
of UMG
Yes,
is in the Diddy files,
yes.
doing weird shit at the Diddy parties.
He's involved. He's in some way, shape, or form, and this is where the law comes into play. The lawyers trying to prove it need to string together facts to paint the picture.
Also, how much of it is like when you're in a position of power? All right, so look, this is gonna get kind of. Let me just talk my shit for a second.
Okay.
Women have a certain innate power with your beauty, with your sexuality. Like a woman can walk into a room and change the atmosphere of the room. She doesn't need to be famous. She doesn't need to be good at anything. She just needs, if a beautiful woman walks into the room, you walk into the room, you walk into the room, the atmosphere changes because people are like, oh, who is she? She's gorgeous. Like, what's going on? Men, for the most part, don't have that power. Men don't have that power. We don't possess that power. That's a very
Feminine.
feminine power.
Yeah.
It's like a superpower. That's why everybody can enjoy a beautiful woman.
Right.
I'm sure you guys understand as attractive women, like from the ages of whatever, 14, 15, whenever you come into your womanhood, like guys are trying to get at you. It's like just becomes a part of your life. Men don't experience that same thing when we hit 14, 15, 16. It's not until we get a little bit of, we grow into ourselves, we get a little bit of money, we get a little bit of confidence, whatever.
Game.
A little bit of game to where women start.
Unless it's like Justin Bieber, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, but we're not talking
Found
about
early.
the
Yeah.
1%.
No,
We're
no,
talking
but-
about the 99% of men.
But I just wanted to bring that up because if you look at what happened to even the men that were, given a certain type of attention, they went through some really
Dark
Horrific shit as well.
I mean, look at Bieber is still
Yeah.
right now dealing with the trauma of whatever happened with him. Like he does interviews, he'll bust out crying about he.
But my point was to say this, is that I'm always gonna withhold judgment to observe the entire scenario, which is there are people who want to get famous, there are people who want to get rich, and they're willing to do whatever to make it to that point. And there are people who hold the keys, and so the key holders are sometimes not the best people.
Absolutely.
And so they're able to say, if you do this for me, I'll do that for you. And so when you become complicit in that, if you're not able to say, I don't want to subject my morals to your little nasty behavior, I'm going to go this way and I'm going to make it on my own or whatever. Not a lot of people have that strength because when you got $1 million check on the other side of touching some old dude's balls or whatever, You know, it's like, maybe I'll play with his little dick for a little bit and then, get this little $1 million check or whatever.
Yeah.
So when that happens and then time goes by and then you come out and say, yeah, he did A, B, and C, it's like you're a bit complicit in that as well. So I don't know how much, and I'm not saying that Cosby or did this or anything. I'm talking about Drake specifically.
Women throwing themselves.
At Drake for clout and then coming out afterwards and saying Drake's a weirdo and a creep. It's like, well, you wanted to fuck
when
Drake.
women are young, women don't know any better.
And plus, these men are in positions of power, so it's like they take advantage of that.
And
So does power? So look, if someone came to you, someone in a powerful position came to you and said, Nadia, I want you to come do some freaky shit for me and I'll put you on TV. What are you gonna say?
No, but that's again like that comes from our our trauma though. Also because like when you put a woman in a situation like that, a lot of the times, and I don't know if you can resonate with this, it's like your fight or flight. If they're not comfortable, their fight or flight kicks in. And so some women just freeze up. And some women just say whatever they need to say to get through it or whatever. Exactly. So it's like you can't put it.
Victim blaming right
no, but you're a man, so you can't understand what it is to be a woman, so you don't understand the perspective.
Like, there's been times where I've been like with my, my ex-girlfriend or whatever, or even girls from work, and they're like, can you, walk me to my car? I'm like, your car right there. Like, what's the problem? They're like, I don't want nobody to take me. I'm like, I never even have that thought.
Yes.
As a man, like, it doesn't even cross my mind. Like, ain't nobody gonna throw me in a truck. Like, good fucking luck. Like,
Yeah.
so that sort of reality, sometimes I have to take a step back and be like, oh yeah, I've never lived this life.
Yeah, men are
Dave
very
Chappelle's got a good bit about that, where he was like, the first comedy, he's like, first little bit of money I ever made, they gave me $20,000 in cash. He's like, I did a show for some drug dealers. And he was like, I was on the train with $20,000 in a bag. And I was like, this is the first time I've ever had something that somebody be willing to like kill me over. And he was like, I wonder if this is how women feel all the time. Walking around with
Literally.
$20,000 in a bag, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's always stuck with me. Like, yeah, I've never experienced what that feels like. But at the same time, I know that there are girls who are willing to do whatever to get with Drake.
Yeah.
And they're willing to do whatever it is for a bag.
Yeah.
So if they're gonna fuck Drake on one side and then come out afterwards and say Drake was weird to me, like
Now, but the difference is the younger girls, when you're not the same person you were when you were 18.
no, not even close.
All right, same thing with women. Like when you're that young, it's like there's this fantasy and this illusion. It's like even, like the saying you don't want to meet your idols. It's like this fairy tale fantasy that women think like, oh, maybe I can be with Drake. I've always had a crush on him since I was younger. And then like, oh my God. But I do feel like if you're the older counterpart and this person is at a level of innocence.
You should
and a
take some
level of,
responsibility.
like, period.
And be like, I'm not gonna manipulate this person.
Period.
So look, how much? Let me ask you this.
Right, like we're all supposed to play our part. You know what I'm saying? From
a
the
great point.
elders on down to the youth. Like it's supposed to be taught to us as humans. It's supposed to be second nature. But as time has gone on and we've been separated from each other and taught different things that are actually like meant to destroy us, like we've forgotten how to actually even do this.
So let me ask you this: how much would you say is it Drake doing bad things versus people wanting to see him gone for just being himself?
Drake is not the victim. Nobody gives a fuck that Drake is famous
No,
as fuck and doing all these things.
To answer your question, I think that his choices. This is the thing where our life is the sum of our choices. Right? Where we are is where we've chosen to be through.
But you don't believe Bill Cosby did those things, do you? So was he moving badly, or was it just people trying to get him out the way?
Well, that's the thing. Michael Jackson was the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, but the music industry is on Drake's side.
Also, we
The music
can't-
industry is on Drake's side.
He's a tool.
We're talking about the community.
But we also can't be talking about everybody in the same category. Like Bill Cosby and Michael Jackson, I wouldn't put in the same category.
No, but they suffered similar things where even when Cosby started to get, when the attack on Cosby happened, he couldn't speak anymore. He couldn't talk for himself. He couldn't defend himself verbally. Like, and this is where you got to
They're not in the same category.
what were you gonna say?
They're not in the same category. Drake is not of the black culture. Like Drake will be fine with or without the black culture because he's not seen as like a true Like Drake,
He ain't gonna be
Drake
fine with. He
is
ain't gonna be
not-
fine without black people. He ain't gonna be fine.
No, maybe okay, but Drake is Jewish. He has the backing of the Jewish community. Period. So if it's like, I'm sorry, but he's not.
The haters. It's not the haters.
It's
It's who he's been.
You can't be in the culture and not do right by the
Since
people in the
we've
culture.
Since we've met, I've always what's happening now and being spoke about, what the echo chamber is now speaking about, is something that I've spoke to you about since the first time that we really hung out and started listening to music together. I was like, look, This is my perspective on it. This is what I see.
Yeah.
And this is why I don't.
You think
rock
it's just the culmination of years of fuckery?
Of his actions.
For sure.
It's universal law.
Even where him and Kendrick started to have a rift was from the Control verse, right? So what happened was the Control verse comes out. Everyone has their response to it. His response, and there's an interview he did where he talks about it, where he's like, well, I saw him at an award show, and it wasn't no static. So to me, it's like, if it's going to be like that, then it needs to be like that.
Yeah, I saw that.
So he, instead of doing what 50 Cent and Ye did when they went head-to-head, album to album, and did the WWE thing where they beefed on the surface, but it was actually a business play for... No, they talk about it now. Like, that was a...
Yeah, but that was like a seriously, like, staged beef. Like, we knew they weren't
No,
beefing.
but it's the same thing with boxing.
And it's
A lot of
sports.
a lot of times with boxing, like, these people they're going into the ring, they're going to hurt each other.
Yeah.
But they got to put on that show for the people. So it's almost... There is a WWE performance aspect of it, but it's a sport. It's like we're here to battle each other to see who's the best. When Kendrick called everybody out, everybody else took the gauntlet in the way that, like, niggas know how to, and him not understanding the culture took it personally and started to create a rift between him and important aspects of the culture to where now it's gotten to where it is today.
Did you see the interview of that guy that was, I believe, he had a show on ESPN, and Drake was on the show? And
Marcellus Wiley.
yeah, and Drake was...
Marcellus Wiley, did you see that? So
I would get closer to your mic just in case.
So he said that Drake came on he had an ESPN show at the time. Drake,
did see that.
Drake came on the show and basically sprayed Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah,
like, sprayed him
And he said, don't put it out.
And
Yep.
his label, the powers that be behind Drake basically said, look, you're not going to air this episode, and if you do, he's not going to host
the
the
ESPYs.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
So he
had tech way back then.
He spoke his
truth, yeah.
humanly emotions, and immediately everybody was like, you can't do this. Because
Yeah.
if that would have sprung then, the person you see now, all of this would have never happened.
Yeah.
You feel me? Because what the culture's doing to him now, they would have did to him then.
It would have been worse.
Feel me? And this is the thing, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. He came into Rome, aka hip hop, and started to do what the Greeks do, or what they do where he's from. It's like, you know what it is?
Colonizing.
It's like the disconnect of the photo that Pusha T used as the cover for Story of Adidon. If you was grew up in Black American culture, you would know that blackface is a no-go under any circumstance. The fact that him and his friends sat around.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
You didn't see that was
That's
Pusha
the
T's?
cover of the Story
I don't
of Adidon.
remember the cover.
Have you ever seen the picture?
I'm sure I've seen it. I just don't
Dude,
remember.
hold up. This has to be...
But the fact that him and his friends, so the reason he did blackface was they were trying to make a statement.
Why would Drake do blackface?
They were
Why would anybody?
There you go. What?
Their explanation is that they were trying to make a statement about how black actors get treated differently than non-black actors, than white actors. So their way to express that was him wearing blackface.
I just remember.
Doing
Justin Trudeau did blackface as well. It must be a thing in
crazy
Canada.
doing the Bojangle shit, and then there's like pictures of him like sad. And this was their artistic take on racism in the industry. But because they're not from here, they didn't get that shit looks fucking crazy and you're not.
That's almost equivalent to him saying, rapping like you're trying to free the slaves, nigga.
Bro, he's been...
Which is crazy. Or when he started the song, it's like, nigga, I said I know that you're mad. It's like,
So-
bro.
His mom
so
at the
can-
beginning said,
Yeah.
I don't think you should say that. And then he like...
So can I say there? Okay, so I've associated with a lot of Black people,
is
like
real?
in Canada
real.
and outside of the United States, and there is a disconnect between Black people from other places and Black people from here.
100%.
A
'Cause you know what?
complete
They
disconnect.
didn't go through project housing. They didn't go through crack being infiltrated in the neighborhood. They didn't go through guns being dropped off in the south side of Chicago, crates of guns being dropped off to like, you know what I'm saying, in abandoned alleys. There was a concise effort to eliminate the Black people on this patch of land,
Yeah.
on this the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about what happened with Black Wall Street.
Through policies, through psychology, through what you're talking about. I was just studying. I was just studying Black Wall Street and
Black Wall Street is
Tulsa.
crazy.
That shit is crazy. And there's a woman that's like 170 years old, still trying to get like a civil suit done from way back then.
Yeah, she's
Also,
the
I don't know
she's
if anybody of importance is going to see this, but like the fact that we can ship out billions of dollars to Ukraine and to Israel, and niggas can't get reparations is crazy.
It's
I
annoying.
used to be against reparations because I'm like, you didn't work for that. You didn't
Wait,
earn that.
what?
No, I was against it.
Oh, Jesus.
No. I will say this proudly. I will say this.
So earlier, whenever you were like, I'm black, I grew up. One thing that I learned about Harrison that he shared with me is that he didn't really understand that racism existed for a good portion of his younger life. He didn't really
You grew up here?
No, I grew up in Tennessee.
Oh, interesting.
I grew up in Tennessee, but here's the thing.
His perspective was very, and I think it.
No. It wasn't that I didn't understand. It's that my parents told me that it didn't matter. They said no one's gonna stop you from doing what you want to do. I don't care what color
type
you are.
shit.
Yeah, my
So
dad,
not-
my
so
dad and my
no
mom.
victim mentality
No,
type.
my mom and dad didn't play that shit. They're like, I don't care what somebody calls you, what somebody says that you are. You can do whatever it is that you want to do, and
Yeah.
nobody's gonna stop you because you're black. Like that's an insane reason to say that you can't do something. So I always grew up with the mentality that if I want something, I'm gonna get it. And if I want to do something, I'm gonna do it, and no one's gonna tell me that I can't
Yeah.
because I have the intellect and I have the capability to do it.
Yeah.
So that was always been my mindset. So when I ran into black people who would say, I can't do that. I'm a nigga. I'm like, that's a stupid ass reason to say you can't do something.
Yeah.
You can do it. You just don't believe in yourself. So that's always been my take. It's not like I didn't understand racism.
So how's that translate into reparations?
So I used to think for a long time, and so my morals say that reparations, at least at this point in time, are kind of ridiculous. My morals, because I think if you want something, you should work for it. You should earn it. And nobody living today worked on them fields.
But you don't think that that what happened back in the day has set black people and people of color
Hell
back?
yeah,
No,
100%.
That's not what I'm saying either. Because we can trace it back and say these things happen, and this is why this group of people is in this state right now. And I'm not denying the impact of slavery or post-slavery,
Especially, exactly.
especially
Even like it doesn't even
post-slavery.
have to be slavery. It's like shit right
Jim
now.
Crow and all these things, and all these things that happen after slavery. You're gonna have to drink.
Based off of that alone, we should get reparations, though.
So here's what I'm saying. But hold on. The logistics of reparations is also weird because there's been mixing and there's been how you trace your lineage back and who gets what. And I've always been a firm believer of, my father always taught me, if you want something, you go work for it. Ain't nobody gonna give you shit. So you go work for it. If you didn't work for it, you don't earn it. You don't deserve it. So that was my original mentality for reparations. But then I started to see the government shilling out billions of dollars to go to Israel, billions of dollars to go to Ukraine, billions of dollars to go here, there, and the third. And it's like, these people don't even live in this country. What are they
Or
getting?
even the immigrants coming here.
They're not, what are they getting millions of dollars for? And meanwhile, we can barely afford to live. So at the same time, it's like.
And how does this connect to Drake and Kendrick and all of this is because, and this is what I was going to say, I actually want to retract my statement. I don't think that Kendrick or Drake won. I think neither of them won. If both of them aren't, neither of them are talking about Palestine, they both lost in my eyes.
Or the genocides or
If neither of them
Congo,
talking
yeah.
about the Palestine and the all of the genocides that are going on in the world, they lost in my eyes
Yeah.
because they want to say, all these celebrities want to say, oh, we don't have this power you think we have. We don't have this influence you think we have. They're literally called influencers.
Right.
They're trying to bullshit us.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they enjoy that fame and that success and that bubble that they have. But when real life shit happens, they're not willing to have real conversations with the people that helped them build that bubble because they're not going to get the same feedback, the same gratification from that.
No.
Or they will
the money-
they will get fired.
That too.
Yeah.
They are tools. That's what I'm saying with Drake. There has been y'all heard of them in the late 1990s where there was this meeting with a whole bunch of music execs. Early, okay. And where they were talking about we are going to channel hip hop into the what is it?
It was a meeting to basically sell stock into the
Prison.
the privately owned prison. So what they were saying is that hip hop was going to be used to brainwash black people into committing crimes, so that the rate of people getting arrested was going to be higher, and investing into privately owned.
So are we gonna blame Drake? Go ahead.
Presently, we have labels that are making money and sending that money, like using that money to build prisons, using that money to strengthen policies for prisons. Yep. Dude, using it to send to weapon manufacturing companies.
This is why Ye is the most important artist of the 21st century, is because if you listen to Yeezus, the album, if you listen to New Slaves, he touches on all of these things.
He does.
He's like, get privately owned prison, get your piece today. Like he's speaking on all. He's like the CCA teamed up with the DEA. They're trying to build new prisons. They trying to make new slaves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's people that have been that. Like, he's like a civil rights activist in real time. He's like MLK. Malcolm X.
Because celebrities do have the power.
Yeah.
They do have the power to influence the masses. They're looking at us. They're literally looking at Instagram, looking at, what do you recommend? What do you not recommend? What do you think I should do? Your opinion?
But let me tell you this, right? Look at what happened to Ye when he started to speak up about his intellectual property being stolen, his contracts he signed with these corporations being breached.
They canceled the tour.
They essentially froze his life in a way where I think they were hoping that he would either lose his mind or kill himself. He didn't. He came back independent. He's still on the rise. This is where, like, for me, like, I am a supporter and I'm following whatever that really got going on, because he's the only person that has had the balls and the intellect to stand up and speak in a way where it's like it's making a difference.
Exactly. So don't you think
Tupac?
if it happened on a bigger scale, it would have really been like something to persuade the masses? Like if it was something that like, because boycotts are historically successful, right? Yeah. So especially like, and so to reference the boycott, I don't know if you heard about the blockout of 2024.
Explain.
So it was brought upon from the reaction of the Met Gala. You know, people were disgusted by celebrities' display of like privilege and wealth.
Giving Hunger Games.
While there are bombs being dropped in Rafah right now, while there are
during the Oscars,
mass graves being.
They started bombing where?
No, it's a Super Bowl.
Sorry, I don't remember. No, it was the Oscars.
No, during the Oscars and the Super Bowl, bro.
That's when it's like timed, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, so everyone's going to be paying attention here, so now let's go ahead and start our onslaught. You know what I mean? Like, you can see.
How
like,
do we not know that all this stuff is planned?
And these people have the opportunity to talk about this shit on their platforms, and instead they use their platforms to make themselves money. And they don't give a shit about us, so fuck them, block them. We need to bring back the era where we have like scientists and philosophers and inventors at like the pillars of society, rather than these motherfuckers that are like that don't care. They don't care.
Even 70.
I think it's starting to happen though. I'm not gonna lie.
No, but even when it was happening before, do you know what happened to Nikola Tesla? Like, you know, Tesla got boxed out of society. They made him feel like he was crazy. The man ended up dying, and then they took all of his patents and his creations and used it for.
I had a professor whose best friend made cars that ran off water, and they murdered him. I believe he was black, yeah. I just know he was my professor's best friend.
They do it a lot to leaders in the black community, which is
where. So for someone like a Kendrick or a Ye, or it's like the only way that we can make a difference is to stay alive, and this is what you call 4D chess, is knowing what moves to make, and what piece to play, in order to stay in the game, because if you make the wrong move and you get checkmated, everything you worked for, all the potential that you had to make a difference is over.
For an example, imagine if Tupac was still alive.
So you don't think he would be saying anything about Palestine?
Oh, he would be.
Exactly. And I think that Tupac, being who he is, such an influence, people would start talking because he would talk. Like DJ Khaled, that sad excuse of a human, he has said nothing. He has literally said nothing. And if he did, he probably would have the rug from, taken out from underneath him.
Or killed. The powers that be.
He stopped eating and he's hungry.
Charleston White, when he talked about what happened to Ye, he's like, look, this man, he stood up and they started whipping him and they started whipping him and they whipped him and they whipped him. And it's like, look, this is what'll happen to you if you want to stand up and say something. And it's not that you shouldn't, but I think that for the people that understand what this all means, there is a effort happening. There are things in motion, like even right now, like the pushing out of Drake from the center of the culture,
is part of that.
The face of the culture is a part of that. Ye breaking away and creating an independently, like, ran element and an entity for himself. Like, these are all aspects of how we build the next phase of the world in a better way than the one we've been living in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to have faith. This is the thing. For the people that got it and have shown and proven that they have the potential to make that change, you got to have faith. You know what I mean? You can't just X them out because they haven't made the statement that you would like them to make. Because realistically, in words, there's really not... No, look, there can be the influence of speaking up and saying something, but is it stopping those bombs currently right now that are being dropped and killing those children and killing those women and killing...
Well, how many more bombs would have been dropped if nobody said anything? Because literally the only thing that Palestinian people are asking for from us is to speak about this on our platforms. Because they don't have that ability. Like, even in the West Bank, it's like big brothers everywhere. Yeah. So, like, if you post, they'll come into your workplace, take your phone, go through it, and arrest you, and you'll be in administrative detention. That's no charge, no trial for who fucking knows how long.
I do think they'll change policies.
The concentration camps that they have.
The concentration camps, and and that's the thing. Like, I get it within the first 2 weeks, 2 months, 9 minutes. Like, you can't say anything. You don't know enough information. It's been 9 months into this genocide. To not say one thing, it makes the rest of us feel fucking crazy.
You got to know though that there's so I'm Brazilian, so our government has kicked out the Israeli embassy. Last week, Colombia did the same thing.
Period.
You're seeing countries that are taking a stand and saying, look, if you guys are going to continue to move in this way, then we don't have any business dealing with each other. So, but this is the thing, it's got to happen slowly, because if not, man, like, you saw what happened with Hiroshima, you know what I'm saying? You saw, like, there's technology nowadays that exists that can vaporize us like that.
Yeah.
And there's bad people that have control of a lot of that technology. So, it's like right now in the Red Sea, our troops and Chinese troops are going at it. Like, this isn't even being talked about on the surface, but it's like I have military friends that are like, look, this shit is on. Like, it's not what's about to happen. It's already occurring. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the approach to save the people from being completely annihilated in the Middle East is already happening. That's what the formation of BRICS was. You know what I'm saying? It was Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, and...
Is it Kuwait or no?
Is it South Korea
or
Syria? I'm...
The K?
In reference to what?
BRICS.
Well, who's the
K?
S? Oh, it's
C.
Oh, it's BRICS.
BRICS with a C. Yeah, China.
Let me see.
Singapore?
And like what Cat Williams said,
No, not with China.
that Cat Williams interview kind of set the tone for the year on a spiritual level. He was like, what side are you on? And you're going to have to live and die on that side. Because...
BRICS.
Cat Williams' special is good, too. On Netflix?
Yeah, I got to watch it.
It's good. I actually liked it a lot.
He's always been an amazing comedian.
I'm not a fan of his older shit. I like the new shit that he's been doing.
Nah, he's always been funny. He's always been hilarious.
But I think that Amanda Seales, I'm sorry, I blacked out for a little bit and I came back. But I think Amanda Seales has a good way of explaining as to why Black Americans and all of us in general, Americans in general, should care about Palestine.
Why did she say?
Well, part of it is that, like, a lot of people kind of tell her that, like, her allegiance should be towards, like, what's happening in the Congo, because she's Black, and that's where her energy should be put. But it all connects, because Israel has its hands in Congo. Israel's using the minerals. It's using the cobalt. It's taking the diamonds, and we're making it in legislation. We're passing laws that will make it illegal for us to speak out about Israel, to say anything badly about Israel. It'll be anti-Semitic. So
there's an effort right now there to ban TikTok in America, because the youth on TikTok is 80% in support of Palestine, and now they're enforcing, they're putting through Congress a law where we're not going to be able to speak against the state of Israel. And also, it's going to make parts of the Bible illegal, because you're not going to be able to say that, like, it says that the Jews chose Jesus over Barabbas to be crucified. Even saying that is going to be something, is going to be...
And the crazy part is, if Israel has its hands in the Congo, and it's illegal for us, if Israel has its...
BRICS is South Africa.
It says, I thought you...
South Africa.
Okay, to South Africa. China, South Africa. If Israel has its hands in Congo and its fingers in Congo, and then it's illegal for us to speak about Israel, how is that helping Congo? How is that helping the Congo?
Yeah.
It's not.
No.
And with everything that you guys just stated, I think that your point is right, that nobody won, because this is more of a reason to speak out about that.
It really
Even
is.
the celebrities,
Well, I
because
think
especially if we're at a tipping point of like,
learn a bit like
Liberation comes from communication. Like
Yeah.
communication with your liberation comes to connecting to your community. And taking the people out of power, like realizing that these people in power aren't our friends, and that these oppressive entities that need to be fucking abolished.
yeah.
See, look, so they asked Ye about what he felt about Palestine. A couple.
And he said there are people being killed.
He said 14 kids were murdered in Chicago.
Exactly, in Chicago.
So, but this is the thing, right? It's like, for what I've learned about life is like, the first people that I can affect in a positive way is like the people that live in my immediate, like my family. You know what I'm saying? Until I can take care of my family, I should not be worried about anything outside of that. You know what I mean? I need to be able to take care of that, then to take care of my community, then to you know what I mean? It's because if you let home deteriorate while you're worrying about an issue that's halfway across the world, you end up getting to a space where you can't even take care of
But
yourself.
what they're doing is gonna affect everybody in the long run.
Exactly. Because you do see what's going on in these campuses. They don't give a fuck about us. They really are taking these cops and they're inciting them. Exactly. And this is only perpetuating.
community is
This
definitely
is only perpetuating fascism in America. It's really giving the
it
green
is.
light for people to be like, oh shit, this is okay. Colonialism, fascism, this is okay. Cop cities are being built all over America, and it's being done with our tax dollars. And these tax dollars are also being sent, obviously, to Israel. They're taking that money,
Our teachers are
buying
underfunded,
exactly.
not paid
They're
enough.
Our
taking
kids can't
hold on,
read.
but they're taking that money. They're buying weapons and they're testing those weapons on Palestinians. Who's to say that they're not going to be testing it on Americans soon? And like Amanda Seales said, it's not going to be white Americans that they're testing it on. It's going to be black Americans. And if we think that's so, exactly. And some people think it's so far-fetched when the last time that America dropped bombs on a black community was only 39 years ago. That was, I have cousins that are older than that.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild. So it's not far-fetched. They're gonna be doing that shit to us. Like, they
Well, they're not, because my words are very powerful. They're never going to be doing that to me and the people that I'm close to. Because
Period.
We're going to make the things happen the way that they need to, and I feel like God is always going to.
I was gonna say that. Period.
Proper space to be safe, but we can't be blinded by our emotions. That's the one thing, right?
That's a good
now,
point.
right now, what they're doing is definitely triggering a lot of people's emotions to the forefront, and emotions can be blinded. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they can keep it to where you can't actually think
Critically.
logically and critically about a situation.
But I
And-
also think that it's really the only thing that has been getting people to really connect with us. You see Palestinian people putting their dead babies on the internet, not because they want to show that, because it's the only way to tug at someone's heartstring. It's the only way for
Like,
people
this is real.
from across the world to humanize a Palestinian person. Someone told me the other day, they were like, oh, being friends with you made me really humanize Palestinian people. And it's like, we literally are programmed to not think they're fucking that my people are.
Because it's all the way over
It's
there.
out of mind. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard for someone to empathize with someone who they can't see, smell, feel, and touch. Like,
And that's weird because for me, I've never felt that way. I've always felt connected to like I remember when I was in high school and everything was happening in Darfur, and I was so hurt, and it just
'Cause you're a
really
woman.
it really solidified that we're really
might also be
connected.
it.
It is,
that
'cause you're a
and it
woman.
solidified that we're connected in this world. We're all one, drop in that bucket.
meditate that rage and that sorrow out so that you can receive the clarity of what steps to take
For sure.
so that you can get the result that you want out of your life. You got one.
She's doing
you know
it.
What I mean, we
No,
got
for
we
sure.
got one life. But
or
this is everybody.
compress
This
it
is
into a fucking dynamite.
No, you're
rocket
right.
and go shoot
No, you're
off
right.
somewhere.
And they say there's a very famous yogi, and he says that for you to do yoga and to not be upset with the world, you're not doing yoga right. Because you have to open your mind and you have to open your eyes to what's really going on.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I hear that, but for me personally, the times when my emotions were swayable.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in quicksand.
So
But
you're
you're-
here. I think what he's saying is you have to have a level of detachment.
No, I think you're right. You're right in that my
Yeah.
emotions will get to me. I will sob for hours
And it
scrolling
makes
and
sense,
shit
and
like
you're not
that.
wrong, and you're not wrong for that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But it gives me anger too, and I don't want to fucking sit with that. So you're right. You have to meditate it to find that mental clarity. But what I do also want to say is that I will be hosting a yoga class coming up soon. All of the proceeds will be going to Gaza. I'll be giving the details. I'll be dropping them soon.
Trying to give us some yoga.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Everybody needs a little
But
bit
yeah,
of yoga in
it's
their life.
it's
Some little
it's
down
really
facing doggy.
the clarity has given me the ability and like really the desire to want to do more with my life. AKA this podcast, AKA going to every protest I can, AKA boycotting and really boycotting, because I was one of those people that was like, boycotting doesn't work. You can't boycott everything. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm boycotting everything. I'm boycotting Disney. I'm boycotting Coca-Cola. I'm boycotting L'Oreal. I'm boycotting. And all of those, I know they're umbrella companies. But if you tell me Snickers bar is made by Coca-Cola, okay, I guess no more Snickers.
Nah, boycotting works. Look at what Lizzo retracted her statement.
She did.
Real quick. Off that
And
that
this is the
block
thing,
shit.
right? There's a lot of research to be done because there's shell companies that are above certain company. Like if I don't want to drink Nestle water, right? I've for a minute been drinking Mount Valley. I've been hearing Mount Valley may be compromised, not because the company's compromised, but because the aquifers where they're getting their water from have been now
Not Mount
Not
Valley.
Mountain Valley.
Seriously.
And they charging $38 for a case of Whole Foods.
Yeah,
They need to chop it down.
So, but look, so just to give you something, right? It was a month, probably 6-7 months ago, where I couldn't find Mountain Valley in none of the Publixes. They were all sold out. This new water company called Saratoga.
I've seen it. The blue
it's
one.
blue and it's glass. So I'm like, let me buy this glass since it's not the regular glass. Let me buy it. I buy it. I go look up who owns Saratoga. It's I think it's called Blue Trident is the company or something like that. And then I was like, man, this doesn't feel right. And I looked up who owns Blue Trident, Nestle. So Nestle started a shell company to start a competitor to Mountain Valley that for somebody who is satisfied with one Google search, they would have been like, oh no, it's cool because it's not owned by Nestle, but it is. So but this is where we got to keep our emotions in check to be able to really do our due diligence and be paying attention and stay vigilant to know where we're at and where we're going with it. You know what I'm saying? It's the battle has gotten
Where
so
are we going?
multi-layered.
That's my question.
Well,
are we taking down the establishment?
No, yes, because it's reductive. It's crazy. It's reductive to think that global imperialism is gonna go away without a fight.
It's not.
It's not gonna go away without
That's
a
why
fight.
I've always.
We
We've
have to
had this debate so many times.
have
I'm
to
like,
resist
we're not
what's-
leaving without a fight.
See, but look, you got to be ready to fight.
Hell yeah.
This is where like Harrison, his brand is called Hard to Kill. This is his whole training, taking care of his body. This and that. It's
I wasn't gonna bring that up today.
I like that, though.
Yeah.
Like that, you know what I'm saying? It's like you have to make.
Art of
You
war.
gotta know you're a vessel and you're an instrument. You feel me? You're an instrument of the source of creation to do something great in this life that you've been blessed with. You know what I'm saying? So the more that you fine tune your vessel, the more that you reach a higher frequency and strengthen your aura, the more you're gonna be able to make an impact in the way that you want to make it. You know what I mean? So emotions sometimes will if you've ever watched animes like Dragon Ball Z, a burst of emotion can take you to a different frequency than you can ever reach, but it's got to be
Channel.
aimed at something.
Yeah, it's
You know
gotta
what I'm
be
saying? When
controlled,
you're in
yeah.
the battle
Focus.
and it's
Of
you gotta overpower the other guy. That's one thing. When we're having a conversation or you're trying to get someone to understand where you're coming from and you get that blast of energy, sometimes it might scare a person away. You know what I mean? So you gotta it's that balance of knowing how to stay strong and stay powerful, but keep it centered in a way where you're inviting everyone to come stand with you in whatever cause you're fighting for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely the balance for sure. For sure. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight the this global imperialism, because I'm telling you it's not going to go away by itself, and it's not going to go away without resisting to what's being normalized, because it's only just going to get more and more and more.
But I think the hardest part in fighting, because I've talked about this a lot with him and with another one of my friends, is that we're so dependent on the global imperialist system for basic survival that it's hard to boycott Walmart and Target and all these places, Publix, where we get our food, where we get our water, where we get our basic necessities to live. Like, unless everyone's willing to revert back to local farms and, you know, very basic things, local education, like stop sending your kids to public school, let's get like a bunch of homeschool teachers. Like, it's going to start on a very local level, very personalized, very small, very specific, and then branch out from there. It starts at home. Yeah. Like you were saying, like you take care of your family, you take care of your community, and then it grows organically from there.
And Gen Z has really been killing it, honestly. Gen Z
I think
really.
both of you guys are right as far as like the collective and the at home. Like speaking out in the collective, you need.
No,
I think
to
there
be
are going to
both.
be
It
people
has
that are
to be
going to
both.
do those things. They're
Because
gonna
And the crazy part is like
you have a passion to be vocal about it and be an advocate. Continue to do that.
Thank
if
you.
that's
No,
what's
for sure. I appreciate that.
on your heart and in your spirit to do that. You know what I mean? For other people, like for me, I've learned. I used to build in front of people because I'd want to like show people how they could build for themselves and like for them to join in. But as time has gone on, I've been like, you know what? I need to learn to build in the shadows and then bring in everyone at the right time so that like whatever is happening can happen and like this is like a domino effect. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's gonna take people like you, like me, like her, like him, like him. Like it takes a village not only to raise a child but to save.
Of course.
Ourselves.
And that's the thing. That's why I think it has to happen on both scales. But to go back to the Operation Blockout, I think that's what's really going to push it.
I agree.
I don't know if I gave a great example. I'm sorry, I don't think I gave a great definition, but it's basically a movement that has been going on to take away the revenue that celebrities and influencers are getting from sponsored ads by blocking them. So, like, even if you don't follow them, they still can be getting money. They still receive money from these sponsored ads. So we're talking about everyone and anyone who hasn't said anything about what's going on in Palestine is getting blocked. Kim Kardashian, Caitlyn Jenner, Lizzo, Jennifer Lopez, even like companies that like on Instagram and on TikTok that really don't fucking matter, like Starbucks, Disney, Coca-Cola. Why not fucking block them?
But look,
Honestly, I'm so okay with it. Let's block everybody.
So for you, right?
I like that.
for you-
Boycotting is
Yeah,
so
fuck 'em.
effective.
And look, so for you, do the research on and create a list of like this is who needs to be blocked out, because sometimes you're gonna find people that maybe haven't said anything but don't need to be blocked. Like I said, like someone like a Ye. Ye is on a whole different mission to be able to like get the footing to make a difference. He hasn't spoken about it and done anything, but I don't think that blocking him would be smart because he's somebody that's as far as I've seen and like I'm connected with people that like we work in that vortex.
Yeah.
Where they're on this side of the line.
Because
But
similar
this is what I'm saying, like, don't be
to-
blinded by the rage to where you're cutting off your nose to spite your face.
No, it's true, because similar to how people that speak about Palestine, it trickles into Congo. Same thing working in the black community and making the black community stronger trickles into
Yeah, there might
all the
be some
injustices
people-
happening
there might be
everywhere
some
else.
people that are so focused on actively fixing what's going on in their own personal communities that there is not enough bandwidth or energy to go anywhere outside of what they're able to affect in real time.
But are we talking about celebrities though?
Anybody.
But like
Okay,
I
but
also
we're-
think that
but-
like I think on both scales, whether it be a celebrity scale or on a civilian scale, we think that it doesn't it doesn't affect, like we have no effect on what's going on across the world, and we do.
I think that black people
Support
kind of.
people fighting the good fight.
I think-
even if it's not currently, if they're not fighting the fight that you're fighting for, if they have the ability to fight for what's right and they're doing it on some level in some way, align with people like that. You know
Of
what I mean? Like
course, of
sometimes
course.
sometimes it might not be as dire and severe as what your people are going through right now. It might be something like right now it's been a slow burn in the black community in America.
I was gonna say, I think that's a feeling that some black people have. Like our whole fucking centuries, we've been like slaughtered. Our culture has been
So
manipulated.
someone that would be like that would kind of what's the word?
and it gives that nobody cared.
Exactly.
that- you know
so
what
if
I'm
someone
saying?
kind of put that on the back burner right now, it's like, why befriend them? Why have any contact with this person that has no critical think that they can't? That's not something that an opinion they have.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm willing to lose friends over this, because if you're not for the people, if you're not for Palestinian people, okay, being neutral is being on the side of the oppressor. To not say anything is to side with the side of the
agree.
oppressor. And so, like, on
I'm so
every
confused on how
single
they got Israel in
scale,
the first place. Like, who decided that was their spot?
because Zionism,
The
yeah,
UK
exactly,
in
it was
1946.
After
exactly.
the Ottoman Empire fell, the British took over that piece of land, and then in
Well, after World War II, they was just like, we want Israel as like
no,
reparations.
The UK sent them there because they didn't want them going to
Africa.
the United Kingdom.
So let's
Well,
plop it
UK
right down the
and-
middle.
yeah, yeah.
Well, they also
Well, they were
claim
gonna-
this is our holy land.
Well, no. So
Which is
you know what's funny?
crazy.
This is the funny thing about them.
They just said this is ours.
They follow a book called the Talmud.
Go ahead.
They use the fact that in the Bible it says that the Jews
Are the chosen
from
people.
Israel
Yeah.
to justify what's
Them-
going on now, but they only use it to justify that because most Americans are some form of Christian. So it's like, look, your book says that we're the people. But that's not even.
But they don't
the
even
thing
believe in
we
that book.
follow.
They don't even believe in that book.
That's an interesting aspect of the whole thing.
But the colonization of Palestine was the answer given, like you said, to Europe without the answer given by Europe without the consent of the Palestinian people.
But look,
Right
but
after.
look what's happening now.
Good.
Europe is being overtaken by Africans, Middle Easterns,
Mm-hmm.
all black and brown people are now like, I mean, look what's
Happening in France?
Italy.
Oh my God.
It's not fun or safe for them anymore. Like, I have a friend, she came to visit a couple months ago. She's from Italy, and she's like, life in Italy is not the same anymore. She's like, there's places where it's just like there's so many immigrants from certain places, and they really don't care about us, and they're just acting crazy, and it isn't safe anymore. You know what I mean?
Well,
So it's like,
colonial
yeah, I've heard lots
powers,
of things
that-
about,
yeah,
like
but-
Sweden.
So
Sweden.
are they being recolonized?
I was gonna say colonial powers like to do that. Israel likes to do that too.
Reverse colonization.
Israel likes to do that too. They're like, oh, we're the only democracy in this Middle East, full of barbarians. Everyone hates us. Yeah, well, you people will hate the people that colonize them. Like,
Netanyahu said that, like, whenever they were going through the Holocaust, no one came to their aid, and that they had to, like,
fight it out themselves.
Where's America?
the allies had to come and save y'all, because, like,
Like, what do you think happened in World War II?
according to what y'all say, y'all was being put in ovens, and, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
just...
We're not going.
And I guess was it according to the same dude that says that the reason why black people after slavery aren't as successful as the Jews is because we play victim.
Who said that?
I'm sure tons of people.
You
say that.
what? Okay, that's wild because it's the
I'm sure
Jews
tons of
that
people say
that
that.
it's the Jews that play victim. It's the Jews that literally have built Zionism off of the fear,
Yeah.
off of fear mongering, and it really is just a fear inciting political ideology that has only made it worse for Jewish people in the world, to be honest, because people are waking up to see what Israel is doing and whatnot.
On an optics level now, is the ability to be able to manipulate perception is now, like, slipping out of their hands. I think that's why
100%.
they're
So
Even
we're-
Jewish people are protesting.
Because
I
that's-
think that's why they're on this, like, complete, like, we need to end this now.
But we're at the
We're-
beginning.
We've been got.
We're at the beginning of this era. The Hindus got a name for this era. It's called the Kali Yuga.
Yeah. Oh, we're actually at the ending of it though.
Yeah. And so, like, it's the age of misinformation, but we're coming into an era of truth.
Awakening and unification.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like the crumbling of all these systems
Dark ages to golden
is
ages.
happening. We're at the beginning of it. So, like,
That's where you gotta
Exactly,
you gotta
exactly.
have faith in that's happening, and peacefully speak truth to power into other people. You know what I mean? Like, don't scare them away with how hurt you are. Sometimes you gotta. It's like a single mother that has to take care of all her kids. She can't let the kids see that. Like, maybe when she goes into the room to go to sleep at night, she's like crying her eyes out because she has to do this by herself. She doesn't know how she's gonna do it tomorrow. But wakes up the next day, makes breakfast, puts them to school, goes to work, does what she got to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like
But I find that numbers can be sometimes blinding. Like when I say there are 2.2 million people in Gaza, and there are like, there are 15,000 children that were murdered out of the 40,000
insane.
people that have been murdered. Like our brains can't really comprehend that. And so it's like I find that it is a balance of pulling on people's heartstrings while showing them the facts. Because I'm not just like trying to make people feel bad for Palestinian people. I'm trying to get them to humanize them so that they can act,
change some shit.
so that they can step up and act and do something. Because
But believe, this is the thing, right? Sometimes when we feel like, oh my God, like nothing's happening, no one, that's what's permeating is this belief that nothing's happening or that the change that we need to stop the
On a
atrocities
metaphysical
going
level.
on, is not, and you don't want to put energy to that. You want to put energy towards, you know what, I'm
course.
going to be at peace about this because I know that the shift necessary
it's
to save
happening.
my people is happening.
No, it's
So
happening.
I don't need to
And
go
this is why Eddie
extra
is the guru.
hard and feel, you know what I mean? Like you gotta, cause this is the thing, as much as you might pump out when you're like this, the energy you could pump out when you're like this is 100-fold.
Yeah.
Similar
saying?
to
Like,
the
it's-
Buddhist yoga, kind of what they teach. Like I was
The
saying
way out
earlier,
is in.
Even if you
level-
watch
a
anime,
level of detachment.
they all power up by doing this.
A level,
Yeah,
of
a level of
detachment, a level of detachment. Like I'm not going to let it fuck up my inner world, but I'm going to still acknowledge what's going on, so I can have a clear focus on what to
Like,
do next.
Cultivate that peace and push it out to where like that's what's starting to.
Because that's what we've had to do in the Black community.
yeah.
Yeah, you can't let the chaos from the outside make you feel chaotic inside. You can't because
then you're feeding into
takes
it.
you out of the battle.
Yeah, it does.
Now you're caught in the chaos and now you're just a victim to it. You feel me?
Yeah.
Don't be a victim to the chaos. Create the peace, spread it, and the change is happening. And it's not even it's gonna happen.
No, it's
already
happening.
No,
happening.
for sure.
Yeah.
It is a media war that's going on right now as well, and an information war. You know, now's the time to get a little uncomfortable and to really start using your voice to help the collective. Because, yeah, the uncomfort is really what's gonna bring the evolution of ourselves.
And do your research.
yeah.
Yeah. So this was great.
Yeah, this was great, guys. We really appreciate you guys stepping out.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
It was
Of
a nice
course.
conversation for sure.
We're gonna do this again
Yeah.
and again and again and
sure.
again.
Yeah, it's fun.
Again and again and again.
So if you want to tell them your socials and where to follow you or support any, you know what I mean, anything.
Harry the bartender, soon to be Harry the personal trainer coach on Instagram.
It's gonna be
And, yeah.
another one.
Yeah, it's gonna be another one,
Another
but
IG. My boy about to have
Yeah, you got
like
to-
3,
you need to-
4 IG.
Yeah.
as many as we
He's
need.
a multi-layered entrepreneur.
We
Yeah.
love that. We love that.
Yeah.
Hard to kill coming soon.
Yes, sir.
Take you from easy to kill to make you hard to kill.
Period.
Yeah.
All right, Eddie.
The Electric Jacket. That's my band. That's our band. Me and my brother Ricky Skeet.
Skeet.
Hey.
Shout out Skeet. Yeah.
Boy Wonder Saves on Twitter. Yeah.
Hell yeah, guys.
All right, until next time.